Hi, I'm Laura Barto from Studio One Stampers, and I want to welcome you to the Valentine packaging. I was so excited to develop this class for you to show you great ways to give out treats this Valentine's. We have a cute little box, and what I love about this box is it's just made from a half sheet of cardstock with a few decorations. So much fun. And then of course, this cute little foil container. Put your own candies in here, have a cute little tag that you can sign. That's really fun. And then this adorable little purse box. This is so fun to make with all the details, with the buckles. I can't wait to show you how to make these projects. Well, this is the first project that we're going to start with. You can see that it's a little box. It's got a little tie on it and a tag and the word love. So be certain to locate those supplies in the little kit that you were provided. So find those supplies. This is what they look like. The little tag, the love, the heart paper. Also remember that you need to gather a liquid glue. I really like this one. This is a Tombow multi-liquid glue. You'll need a pair of sharp scissors. I love these snips. They are so sharp right to the tip, and that's helpful for this project. You'll want a bone folder. We need really nice crisp creases on our projects. If you don't have a bone folder, a spoon works, or possibly a wide barreled pen that you could use to softly crease pieces. And then the last thing that you need is a single hole punch. And this is the size that you would use for school to put holes for a 3-ring binder. So that's all that we need for that. So make certain that you have all those tools together, and we'll start by crafting this first project. What I love about this particular project is that this piece of cardstock is half a piece of cardstock. So I took an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock and I cut it at 5.5, and each box is just a half piece, so you can get 2 boxes out of 1 piece of cardstock, which is really a wonderful thing. What I've done is I've taken this piece, and you'll see that there are some score lines on there. I have mine oriented so that the score line that's going all across the edge here is at the bottom. And I want you to go ahead and fold that line first. So we're going to pick up our cardstock. Now, many people are curious as to which side they should fold on. When it's scored, obviously I put a piece that pushes down here. That is actually the outside of the box. If you think about it, when I did that score line, I actually broke some of the fibers in the paper because this is made out of wood, and so it's weaker in those areas, so it's going to bend in those areas better. So that valley is what's going to be on the outside of the box. So I'm going to take and fold this bottom edge first and use my bone folder. I want a really nice crease along the bottom here. So really nice crease, and you can see how by just going back and forth a few times I've got a really nice square edge there. And then you'll see that there are 4 different score lines, and I want you to cut, or snip is actually the right word, on those score lines only up to that fold. So I'm going to put my scissors right on that score line and cut and snip right to that fold. I don't want to snip past the fold because then it'll be part of my project, and I don't want to snip too far away from the fold this way because then it will tear as I'm building my project. So that's one snip. We're going to do the second one here. And if you have a pair of scissors that doesn't quite cut to the tip like these do, you can always just very carefully go in there and watch that edge and make certain that you're only cut to there. So here's the 3rd score line that we're cutting on, and now here is the 4th one, and this one is the little tiny one at the corner. Okay, so you should have that you should be in a position where you have all these 4 pieces have all been cut like that, and that's all that we've done so far. Now this little one on the side, we're actually going to remove just this little piece. And when we do that, instead of cutting directly on the score line like this, we're going to angle this up and just cut right to that point. So what I've cut off, I gotta cut a little bit more here. What I've cut off here has a little bit of an angle to it, so you can see what I've cut there. So I've cut that piece off. So now this is what we have. We have this piece. This is going to be our gluing flap, and that's why I wanted it just out of the way a little bit more that way. Now it's time to go ahead and fold on all of the other 4 score lines. Just fold. We're not going to do any more cutting. So I'm going to start by folding in this way and do 1 there, and then move to the next one and fold that one. Then move to the next one and fold that one. And then our very last one is this little flap that we just created, and we're there. All right, so hopefully you've caught up here and you have the 4 lines that have been cut here, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to this score line, and you have these 4 folds done. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to add the decoration to the box. And it's important when you add your decoration to your box to know what is the front of your box and the back of your box. This is going to be the front of the box because these 2 sides will fold around and give a cleaner finish. If I made this the front, I would have a funny side of the cardstock facing me. So this is going to be our front. And we're going to go ahead and glue our pieces onto the front. The first piece is this heart piece, and you can choose whichever side you like. If you prefer the diagonal stripes, feel free to do that, or the heart side. So we'll put just a few dots of glue onto that piece. And put that, and we're going to put that so it's centered on the sides and on the bottom the same amount. So there'll be a big space up here at the top. And you can see that I want that space for my tag and for my tie that goes up there. So we've got that piece in place. Now it's important to glue the love in place. So we're going to take this heart, and I like to lay out my pieces right where I want them to go, and then pick them up and put them back where I want them. So I'm going to actually start by putting the OVE on, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that piece. And I like to just put a tiny amount of glue on and then use my tip to kind of move it around. You also can grab a toothpick if you like that technique, where you put some on a toothpick and that can help you move things around. And now I'm ready to just drop that OVE in place. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing with the L. I'm going to pull that up and put a little bit of glue on there as well. Hopefully you're doing well with your glue. Just a very, very small amount of glue is really important. We don't want it oozing out and remaining sticky. So we just pop that on. And it's okay, the bottom of my L is sticking out a little bit from there, and that's okay. And so if you have a little spot like this that's sticking up, you can always go ahead and just gently add a tiny, tiny dot of glue right there to just hold that down if you've got something that's popping up like that. So there we go. So now we have our love is ready to go. Now the next step is to put the love onto the piece here. So we're going to use some dots of glue. And again, I want that fairly low. a little lower than center, and that's going to just sit right on like that. Okay, well, let's stop there for just a second so everybody can catch up. You should have cut your pieces at the bottom. You should have all of these folds done and notched out this one corner where this one corner comes out. So we should be there so far. Okay. All right, now it's time to put the box together. It's important when you put a box together to do it flat so that it's not off center or cattywampus or whatever. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put the glue on this flap. So I'm just going to put a thin bead of glue all the way on this flap. All right, so now I'm going to take that flap and make sure that flap is folded over. You can see I've turned it over. And I'm going to fold this halfway. So I'm folding it over halfway, and you can see that my box is completely flat. And you can see on the back here, I've gotten that, this is what the back looks like. And so I've got a flat box. So it should look like that. It should have the love over on this side and this side panel there. So then what I can do is I can pop this up and I can actually put it the other way just to make certain that it's even. And now I have my box and I'm just ready to do the bottom flaps of my box. All right, so we should have these 4 pieces that should all be even. You've seen the bottom of a box many times, so we're going to go ahead and fold in the little pieces first. And we want to go ahead and put glue on those pieces. I like 4 dots of glue. And we're going to fold the back of the box down first. All right, so there's my front. So I'm going to fold the back piece down first. Now I'm going to add glue to this and fold the front piece down. That gives us a nicer finish to the box rather than seeing that edge of the box. So here we go. And if you feel like your box isn't holding down there, you can always push on the inside there with a punch or a bone folder to just kind of make sure that everybody's nice and tight down there. All right, so now we have the bottom of our box. And the last thing we need to do is to add our tag and our tie. And we're going to do that with the hole punch that we had. So now the next thing we need to do, you see how that's sort of pinched right there? What we're going to do is grab this and push in the center and just make sure that the back and the front are squeezed together like that. I'm going to show that to you one more time. So I don't have a score line here, but I'm going to push on the center and I'm going to squeeze that together so that it's holding together like that. So I've got this pinched closed together, and now it's time for me to punch my holes. Now I want to be certain when I punch my holes that I don't try to go through all of those layers because I don't think the punch will do that. So I want my hole punch to come just inside that. And I want to make certain that they're fairly even. So I'm going to look at where my crease is, and I'm going to put my hole punch in there, and I'm going to kind of try to memorize this distance between my hole punch and the paper because I'm going to move it over and do a second one. So that looks like a good position for my hole punch. I'm going to punch through all of these layers. It's just 2 layers. Now, if for some reason your hole punch doesn't go through all those layers at one time, you can always punch 1 layer and then match it up and punch the second layer. That's fine as well. Now I'm going to move this over. I've kind of memorized that distance, this distance right here, and I'm going to move that over right here and do that a second time, being certain that I don't have those extra layers in there. Whoops. There we go. All right. And I do need 2 hands for this. This cardstock is very, very heavy. So there we go, and I think I've gotten through that just about. Maybe I need a little bit more oomph. Okay, there we go. All right, and you can see that I didn't quite get through there. I'm going to just kind of clean up my punch. I guess I have it stuck here a little bit with stuff, so that I need to clean it out. So I'm going to just try that. And this is the technique where you can do one side, and then you can match up the second side. Let me just get that piece out of there. Not sure why it's all stuck there, but that's okay. And then we'll do the second side and just match it up like that. There we go. All right, so there we go. So we've got those two holes ready to go, and we're going to thread our tie here. This is a baker's twine, and just put that through those holes. All right, now this is the part you might want to stop here before you finish this project, because you might want to put your candies inside first, or your treats, or whatever you're going to put, or your gift card, or whatever it is you're going to put in there. But when you are ready, you want to go ahead and sign your tag, and then put the baker's twine through this hole, and then we'll just go ahead and tie this. So you don't have to do that right now, but it's just going to be a standard bow. Just tie it and put a little bow on there, and you have got a cute little treat box. So you can do a bow, or you could do a knot. If you do a bow, then it can be untied. So there you go. There's your cute little treat box, and it's ready to go. Well, I wanted to show you how to score this little box, because I think you may want to make lots and lots of these projects in the future. So the first thing that I want to show you is how to score the piece of paper. So I have it in the landscape mode, and I have here the dimensions for my scoring. And so what I'll do is just put my my markers at the right spots for all of my dimensions. So I'm at a 1/2 inch, 3/4, 4.5, and 7 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and score those. You can score these with a ruler, or you could score them on a different kind of a paper trimmer. For me, this is the easiest, especially when I'm going to do a whole bunch of them. So I do it that way, and then I'm going to turn the paper here, and I'm going to move my marker to 1 1/4, and I'm going to do that piece all the way down this way. And that's all there is to doing the scoring for this box. And we've started out, of course, with a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of paper, 1/2 a piece of cardstock. Okay, I hope you had success on your last project, and it's time for us to do this cute little purse box. You can see that it folds in here. Just an adorable, adorable little box. It's got all the little stitching lines on there as well. So let's get started and show you what to do with that. So these are the pieces that you should have. You should have 2 identical pieces. One is for the front and one is for the back. You should have 2 handles, 2 buckles, a little button, and a pocket, a piece of floral paper, and then this little piece of white paper is your message, where you can fold that in half and tuck it in the pocket as a message. So one of the things you can do first is just go ahead and fold that in half and set that aside, because that's something that you're going to fill out and tuck inside that pocket. So we'll just set that aside so we know what to do with that. What I want to do first is get all these score lines folded like we did last time. It's a little trickier this time because The score line is between the two stitch lines, so we need to make certain that we fold this accordingly. And this middle one, this one is actually going to be folded in the opposite direction. So I want to start with this one that's folding in the opposite direction. The stitching line should be up facing you. So I want to start by just kind of finding that little score line and turning that over, making certain that I'm on the score line and not the stitching line. It's right in between there. And I want to come down just to that point where that's going to fold. And then I want to do these two little cute little folds down here as well. So those are going to fold this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up having this look like this. Can you see that? It's going to have this folded in and this piece there. Then we're going to take and fold this flap down, and we want to fold this flap down as well. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to fold this direction. So can you see how we're starting to make that per side piece there? So we're going to do that, and we want to get those folded again, nice and securely folded. And then we'll fold the bottom edge. So now I've got, this will be the bottom of our box. You can see how that's starting to go together like that. So I want to make certain that that is folded really well there as well. We're going to do all those same steps on the other piece. So we'll just repeat that. We're going to start by doing this center fold line and folding it in right down to this tip here, and give it a nice fold there. We're going to go ahead and fold these little triangular pieces down there and down here. I don't know if you can get your bone folder to do those. I'm just going to pinch them with my hands. I think that's going to work out. And then we'll fold over this little edge on the side like that, and use the bone folder to do that. And then we'll also do this one folding this way. All right? And just make sure you're on those fold lines. It's easy to get those stitch lines to kind of want to take over, so don't let it do that. And then we'll do the bottom edge down here and the bottom edge down there. Okay. There we are. So hopefully you should have two identical pieces, and they should be folded like this so that they'll kind of do this little accordion thing at the top, like that and like that. Okay? All right. Now the next thing to do is we're going to just attach two of these together, and I'm going to leave them there, and I want to put a bead of glue just on this one little flap right along there, just along there, and that one is going to be attached so that this matches up at the top and matches at the bottom. So it's going to turn into being a one-piece item. So there, can you see how that's just attached? I still have my two stitch lines on either side. I'm ready to fold on the bottom, and I'm one piece there. All right, so hopefully you have that done where you've got this connected to be one complete layout. Now we'll go ahead and add our designer series paper. And you could of course use either side if you like the little, whichever side you like, you're welcome to do that. Just make sure you put the glue on the side that you're wanting to have next to your project. And we're going to choose this piece as our front, and this is going to set right in here. You can see it's framed out evenly from the top and the bottoms and the sides to fit right in there like that. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put our pocket on, but first I want to glue the little button on, and that little button is going to glue right there. So I'm going to put a little tiny bit of glue on either side of those holes. And just put that button on. I can move that around a little bit just to get it perfectly centered. There we go. So now I have my button, and my button is just glued right to the front there. Now, to put this pocket on, it's really important that we leave the top open so so we can slide this in later. So as far as our glue, we need to put that just on the two sides and the bottom, very lightly. Not a lot of glue. So we're just going to put a dot there, a dot here, a dot there, a dot there, and I can put one a little bit more at the bottom here just so that my message doesn't fall out the bottom. And I'm going to put that fairly close to the bottom. So I'm only about less than half an inch, maybe more like 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. You can see that distance right there. I want to have that really close to the bottom so that when I go to put my little message in there, I have room for it. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do something with our handles while we wait for some other things to go on. So your handles need to be curved a little bit. So I just want you to kind of make them softer so that they're going to be bent a little bit more. And I do that with my bone folder so that they'll curve. You can see how different that is than when beforehand. You can see how I've curved that. Do the same thing with both of them. Just kind of like curling ribbon, but just lightly scoring that or curling it around so that I have this shape for my two handles. Now the buckles are going to go on the same piece. So I want to go ahead and get those glued on ahead of time and let them dry. So this is going to get fed in here. It's going to go up and then down. So it fits on there like that on one side, and then it's going to be on the other side of the same piece. I'm going to take my buckle and put that up here and down. All right, so my two buckles are in place, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue back here to just make certain that those hold in place. I'm just going to add a little glue right in that, just kind of, I'm trying to get it in between there just so that buckle doesn't come off. All right, so there. I'm just going to let that set aside and dry because I want to just now move to putting the box together. Okay, ready to put the box together. We're going to glue on this flap again, like we did when we put the whole thing together. So I'm just going to put a bead of glue down there. Nice light bead of glue. We don't want any glue oozing out. And now we have to match it up to this side over here. And what we'll do is we'll just hold this up in the air, and we're going to match up this top edge here along that edge. So it's going to start to look just like it did on the other side. So this is what we should look like now. It should look like that. And we've got the whole thing, and just keep your fingers holding onto that until you feel like it's really solid and it's going to hold. So there we go. So we've got now our basic box is ready to put together, and we'll go ahead and do the bottom flap similar to what we did on the box we did earlier. We're going to fold the little flaps in and put a little bit of glue on those little flaps. So just a couple of dots of glue on the little flaps, and put the back flap down first. So I've got my back flap down first. And now it's time to put my front flap down, so I'm going to go ahead and put some glue across this flap and put that down as well. And you can stand that up. You can push down inside with your hands or with a bone folder to make certain that all those flaps are nice and solid and holding. So we're doing this. Okay. So our box is really coming together. We just have a couple more steps to do. So next we'll put the handles on. All right, let's go ahead and put the handles on. Let's start with the front one. And we already have some glue holding these buckles in place. So we're going to put a little glue right here on this edge and a little glue right there. And so we'll just put that so that that buckle is at the top edge of our purse. And this buckle is at the top edge of this one. So you'll probably want to hold that for just a little bit so it really is firm. Otherwise it might pop a little bit. So you want to just hold that until it's dry. So let's just hold on to those for just a moment. And we'll be doing the same thing on the back of the purse, holding these in place. So we'll hold on to that. Probably another few seconds just to make sure it's really secure. And of course you can think about what you're going to be putting in that note and who this little cute purse might be for. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the back. Put a little bit of glue there and a little bit of glue here. And again, we'll hold these two pieces in place and we're going to put them down about the same amount as the other one, just like that. And of course hold that in place so it's nice and firm and it's going to dry just right. And those should be just about even. You can adjust them slightly if they're not even, but those should be just about even. And there's our finished purse. Isn't that just adorable? And you're ready to write your special note and tuck that in as a special gift once you've put something fun inside. Well, we've moved on to our easiest project of all, and this is just a little foil treat box. It's in the shape of a heart. It's a little red heart, and it has a clear lid to put on top. Of course, that's so that you can see all the candies inside and just feel really loved by knowing that you're going to enjoy all those candies. So you'll have to decide what you're going to put in this box. This will be really fun. And these are food safe. It's foil, so if you want to bake a brownie or something, that would be fine too. This one is super, super simple to put together. What we have is inside your lid, you should have a tag. And this has been done by, I did put it in a punch, but I didn't punch the top edge of that so that it still would open. But this one went in the same punch, and that will go and that will finish off just those cute little scallops at the top. So the first thing to do is to go ahead and glue this piece onto the front of our tag. And of course, if you prefer the other side, if you'd really rather have that group of hearts, that's fine too. I love our designer papers because they have so many choices to them and so many beautiful patterns. All right, so we'll go ahead and put that on top. So we're going to match that up exactly. It was punched with the same punch, so we know it's going to line up. So that's ready to go. And then this little heart, I've already supplied you with a couple of dimensionals. So you just pull the backing off on those. Throw those away. And this little heart will go right in the center of this big heart. Now, some of you have red for your edging and some have pink. So there's just a variety. So it's nothing wrong, just different choices. And then we're ready. Let's assume we've got our treats in there, and then we'll put the lid on, and this just snaps right in place, fits perfectly. We'll take our ribbon, and this ribbon is just twisted. So it's kind of like those ribbons for different organizations. We're just going to do that, and we'll put a little glue on that in a bit. And then this piece also gets glued on, just like that. Now, you may want to put your message in here, before you glue it on top of that ribbon, just because it'll be a little bumpy. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and glue that in place so you can see what to do. So normally I don't put glue on ribbon, but I know that this particular ribbon is not going to be seen because it's going to be hidden behind there. And so I'll put some glue on the back of this. I'll use a little bit more glue just because it's on something that's plastic. And that is just going to set right in there like that. And of course this will pop up and ready for the message. So isn't that just adorable? So I saved the easiest one for last. So hopefully you've made your little box and your adorable purse, and now you've made your treat box, and you are all ready for gift giving for Valentine's. But also these projects would be great as favors for showers, a wedding shower or a baby shower, or as little treats for any kind of a table decoration, even for the holidays. So I hope that this gives you some great ways to make all these wonderful boxes. One thing I did want to mention to you is this particular box. This is the All Dressed Up die, and these are dies that are available currently from our catalog, so that if you wanted to cut these out yourself on a die cut machine, you would be able to with the All Dressed Up dies. And all those pieces come in the dies, the button and the pocket and the thing, so and high heels and all kinds of great stuff. So anyway, hopefully you've learned something and you can so enjoy making all kinds of packaging.